Alright, so I asked you guys what's your unpopular fantasy opinion. Let's go ahead and jump on in to see what you get to say. But I'm not going to do another take. Alright, so the first unpopular fantasy opinion we had here was from King Editor, or Zach Nat. Check out his channel if you haven't already. It's wonderful. First unpopular fantasy genre opinion. I don't like Wise Man's Fear. I'm with you. Or American Gods. Dude, you're losing me. And if this counts, I don't like the Princess Bride movie. I don't like you now. No, that's fair. You're allowed to have bad taste in movies. From Stubble McShave, unpopular fantasy opinion. D. Eddings Illinium and Tamuli series are much better than Bulgrade and Mellourune. I've not read a single thing you just mentioned, so yeah. You're right. From Nerve, unpopular fantasy opinion, The Dark Tower is unnecessarily slow and stupidly moving. The characters are okay, but the plot is all over the place, while the writing is just terrible for King's standards. As you know, I did not love Dark Tower, so I'm not gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you. I kind of agree. Unpopular fantasy opinion. Stephen King has great characters, but horrible endings to his books. That's not unpopular. That's actually like a well-known Stephen King thing that a lot of people think. Unpopular fantasy opinion, many fantasies aren't fantastical enough. I kind of like minimal fantasy sometimes. You know, not everything has to be like super over the top, you know, Wheel of Time level. I'm okay with a little bit of like minimal fantasy, you know? Let's not make everything as amazing as possible. That's just my opinion. Unpopular fantasy opinion, The Inheritance Cycle is one of the best works of fantasy. It's simple yet engaging. It's a simple yet engaging read for those who want to dip their toes into the genre, and it serves that purpose perfectly. Shower me in hate, embrace the dark side. So I think you're right in a way. I think The Inheritance Cycle serves its purpose exactly as it wants to, but as like an experienced fantasy reader going into The Inheritance Cycle, you're probably going to be a bit bored, and you're going to be walking through a lot of tropes that you've just seen play out exactly like The Inheritance Cycle has before. So while I don't think you're entirely wrong, I wouldn't call it one of the best of fantasy just because the lack of originality, oh my god, hinders it for a lot of people. Fantasy sucks. Then why are you on my Discord? I cannot stand the Percy Jackson series. People spelled out anger. I'm actually with you on that. I think it's pretty bad. So I don't think I've ever mentioned Percy Jackson on my channel. Yeah, I think it's pretty bad as well. I'm actually with you on that one. I don't like Lightbringer. It's okay. I doubt Lightbringer likes you, so it's fine. Lord of the Rings, it's not great. It's influential as hell, but Tolkien's writing was so archaic, it hurt. So I'll give you one thing that, you know, writing styles change, and to writing modern standards, it's certainly not up to what we currently look for in our writing. So I will go ahead and give you that it is very different, and if you're used to only modern fantasy writing styles, the Lord of the Rings is gonna be difficult for you to get into. But if you've read some classic fantasy, it's, compared to a lot of classic fantasy, much easier to read. His writing was ahead of its time in style in some ways, but yeah, compared to modern, not as easy to read. But I do disagree that it's not great. I think it's amazing. So that's, can you match that level of world building on average? I don't think so. I think Middle Earth has some of the best world building of all time. So I think that alone hurts your point there, Seth Thyro, although I do really like your name and your beard. God damn, that's a nice beard. I really don't like Lord of the Rings that much, and people spelled out boo. Star Wars is sci-fi. It's sci-fantasy at best. Oh my god, someone agrees with me. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is overrated. I don't know what those are, so I'm gonna back my fans here. Yeah, totally. Mistborn Era 1 plus Secret History is better than Stormlight so far. I don't know how to react to that. I'm just gonna move past it. Second gen Mistborn is as good as first gen Mistborn. You burn in hell. You burn in hell and you die. No, it's fine. You know, to each their own. If you like the kind of Western skin, you like the Western skin. And if you like worse storytelling, you like worse storytelling. Witcher, greater than A Song of Ice and Fire. You're right. Kvothe is a Mary Sue. That's not an unpopular opinion, Ryan. Don't just try to agree with me. Don't do that. I see what you're doing. Don't do that. Jaime Lannister would beat Rand in a fight. Okay, a guy who can best a merge roll with a sword and can also channel enough to destroy the world if you wanted to, versus a guy with a sword who's pretty good, who's really good. I'll say he's really good with a sword, but he doesn't have the void, he doesn't have channeling, he's not a blade master by Wheel of Time standards, and like humans in Wheel of Time have feats that are well above what actual normal humans can achieve, so we can assume Wheel of Time humans are just like normally better than your average human, because like a Murdral moves faster than eyesight, and individual blade masters take on multiple Murdral. I think even Rand does that at one point. So I'm just gonna say you're wrong, unsubscribe, and dislike. No, don't actually, I love you. Okay. Don't know if this is quite fantasy, but in my unpopular opinion is that Twilight was pretty good. The books, not the movies. The movies are awful. I liked reading a female character written by a female author. It was very different from how male authors usually write their women. No comment. Matt Coffin is overrated. I don't know who Matt Coffin is, but sure. Okay. Rothfuss is overrated? Yeah. Shadow Rising is better than Lord of Chaos. You burn and you die. No, they're both great. Not sure if I'm popular, but Fantastic Animals is better story on Harry Potter universe than Harry Potter. Wow, I've actually never heard that. That's one of the few legitimately unpopular opinions I've seen so far. I strongly disagree, but I respect your boldness of your opinion. My unpopular opinion, fantasy should stay far away from grimdark as possible. That is currently unpopular according to modern trends, and you know what? I respect your boldness, somewhat agree. I think it should... Modern fantasy needs to stay away from going too dark. I like what some of grimdark brings fantasy, in terms of grounding it more, making the stakes feel higher, things like that. But there are many series that take grimdark way too far, and it just becomes miserable to read. So I disagree that it should stay away from it altogether, but I agree that there are certain aspects in going too deep that just kind of ruin otherwise what I think are really good series. So that's there you go. From Fitz. How's it going, Fitz? My unpopular opinion is that not enough fantasy lit is translated, which has brought about almost a monopoly of fantasy in English. This leads to less diversity when it comes to who gets recognition as a credible fantasy author. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's just legitimately a problem of the industry. But I agree with it. Unpopular opinion. Shallan's character is overblown, in my opinion. Ooh. I don't think that's that unpopular. She's kind of hated from what I've seen in the comments of my videos. I don't think Shallan's awful. I just think that she has problems. And actually, she's a lot deeper than a lot of people give her credit for. I disagree with your opinion. You know what? I'm gonna go that far. I'm gonna say I disagree. Fight me. Also, there's a lot of racism in fantasy lit that a lot of people don't address. I'm gonna stay away from that because I don't want to get another comment section that's in hell. I don't know if they are popular outside Brazil, but Prince of Thorns and Demon Cycle are great series. I think someone earlier said those are overrated. You two should fight to the death. Moash did nothing wrong. Oh, okay. Gonna stay away from spoilers. I never finished Prince of Thorns. I got bored. Banned Hippong. Oh man. I don't really like involving urban fantasy and modern day futuristic fantasy and regular fantasy. You know what? I actually kind of agree. I like to take my fantasy up to as like late as like Renaissance or maybe even Enlightenment era. But after that, it starts, I don't know, being bad for me, in my opinion. People tried to say ban Hippog even though he was literally the first to join. And so he posted a photo of his thing that's literally the first to join. Yeah, we can't ban Hippong. He can do a lot of shit in this server and get away with it. He'd have to do something pretty bad for me to ban him, because I got respect for my OG homies here. Although I love Sanderson's magic systems, sometimes I do find them to be a bit too science for my personal magic taste. Seems more like superhero powers. That's interesting. I really like how well he defines his magic systems. I don't really have much of a problem with it. But I can see how his very stringent hard magic systems, he does typically avoid soft magic systems. If you like soft magic systems, could be a bit of a turnoff. So, you know, we're not entirely in disagreement there. My unpopular opinion, Shallan is a good character. Also, the first law is top tier 5 in the genre. The second opinion there is not unpopular. That series is loved by people who read it. Shallan is a good character, and I think the hate she gets is unnecessarily. Only book 1 of Gentleman Bastards series is worth reading. Did you read the next 2? They're great. Has Daniel read Mistborn's Secret History yet? I don't think so. He better have. Is someone gonna break my knees please. Unpopular fantasy opinion that will 100% get me flamed so hard I'll have to leave. Lord of the Rings is the best fantasy series of all time. It's great, it's iconic, it's definitely a foundation text for modern history, but it's not the best. I think most modern fantasy readers actually agree, because we have a very clear understanding of what worked and what didn't for the fantasy genre in the day. I don't know, I think for what our current tastes are, certain things that did make Lord of the Rings great don't ring as true for us. So I think you're kind of making a good point. Hippon coming in again. Moash did nothing wrong, changed my mind. I dig you as a person. Unpopular opinions. Lord of the Rings was just good-ish at best. The films are better. Tolkien makes a better historian than storyteller. Ouch. Chronicles of Narnia are boring and racist garbage that deserve to stay in the 1950s. The only okay ones are The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The films are also better. Films are bad, so that's saying a lot. The Northern Lights / Golden Compass are grossly overrated. Disagree. I am afraid to read Brandon Sanderson because everyone puts him on a godly pedestal, and I have a feeling there's no way his work can live up to the hype. Don't buy into hype. Go into things expecting nothing. That's what I've learned through BookTube. Never raise the bar. Go in with expecting a 5 out of 10 and go from there. That's actually like pretty much saved my BookTube career. Oh, also, A Wizard of Earthsea is overhyped. Don't show boringness personified. Well, I'm not going to read that if that's the case, because I hate that. And from there, it descended into no more unpopular opinions. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is address the fact that we have a politics channel now in the Discord. So there was political talk happening in the Discord server. It was getting kind of, I don't want that bleeding all over the server, but I also don't want to be telling people what you can and cannot talk about. So we made a channel for politics. Go talk about it in there if you must talk about politics with other people in the audience. I don't blame you. It's an interesting thing to discuss. If you're caught talking politics outside that channel 3 times, you're going to get a 1-month ban. And if you do it again, you get a permanent ban. That's the rule for now. My mods are going to be on top of that stuff. I love you mods, appreciate you. And the only thing I'll ask is if you make a claim and someone says, hey, give me a source for that or cite it, you must provide a source or cite it. And none of these conspiracy peddling websites as sources. I want actual sources, please. And if you don't know how to cite sources, how about you don't talk politics? That's kind of should just be a rule for society in general. Because, man, we're falling apart when it comes to what facts are. That's going to be where I'm going to leave this video, on a fairly negative note. I hope you guys enjoyed these unpopular fantasy opinions, because I enjoyed making this video. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace. Did you spot the Nutella? And I want to give a special thank you to Jess and her Olaf. I can't pronounce your name, man, but both of you are fantastic, and I appreciate your donations. Jess, you increased yours, and you're not my highest patron, so much love.